My name was Paul. I was an uptight tech worker, a man who built his life on the elegant certainty of code, while my girlfriend Maya built hers on, well, paint fumes and ramen. Her art was a cute hobby, something I supported because that's what a good boyfriend does. I took care of things: the rent, the bills, the real-world stuff, so she could have her little passions, like her encyclopedic knowledge of a TV show called Gossip Girl. I figured she adored me for it. It never occurred to me that my constant reminders of her dependency might be wearing thin and leaving her feeling powerless. Our best friend and my co-worker John was the third point of our triangle, but lately he'd been feeling more like a lonely satellite. The jealousy wasn't malicious, it was a quiet, sad ache born of loneliness and sadness. He was a good guy, but he was always on the outside looking in, watching me build a life for Maya he could sense she didn't really want, while he was struggling with being alone more often. He didn't want us to break up, but he also didn't want to be the third wheel in an unhappy relationship. He wanted to be part of something, to be included. One Tuesday, after Maya and I had cancelled on him for the third time in a row, he found the locket in a dusty antique shop. That night, looking at a photo of the three of us where he was clearly on the periphery, he clutched the locket and made a thoughtless, wistful wish. "I just wish we could all live in a world where Maya and I can be happy," he murmured to his empty apartment. It was an accident. A terrible, life-shattering accident. The next morning at work, the world began to unravel. I arrived in my standard-issue chinos and a blue Oxford shirt. The first glitch happened around 9:30 am. My fingers, typing out a line of Python, felt unusually slender on the keyboard. I slacked John from across the office. "My hands feel weird." His reply was instant. "Mine too. And is my shirt silk?" I looked down. The crisp cotton of my shirt had softened, now feeling like a fine, silky blend against my skin. A small, unfamiliar crest was embroidered over the pocket. Panicked, I texted Maya. No response. Just then, our manager Brenda walked by John's desk. "Ooh, nice shirt, John." "Very stylish," she said with a smile, completely oblivious. John just stared at her, his face pale. By 11 am, the changes accelerated. My trousers, once a relaxed fit, now felt snug around my thighs, the fabric a finer wool than I'd ever owned. John caught my eye from across the room and subtly gestured to his own pants, his expression a mask of horror. I risked a trip to the men's room. My reflection was terrifying. My eyelashes were definitely darker, longer. I splashed water on my face, but the mascara-like coating wouldn't smudge or run. My hair, usually short and neat, now brushed against my collar. John came in a moment later. "Paul, what is happening?" he whispered, his voice trembling. My face, "I think I'm wearing foundation." He was right. A faint, flawless layer of makeup was visible on his skin, impossible to wipe away. We returned to our desks in a daze. Kevin, another programmer, came over to my desk to discuss a project. "Hey Paul, on that last build, did you run into any issues with the dependency architecture?" My mind scrambled for the right words, but the wrong ones came out. "The architecture? No, the silhouette was the main problem. The draping was all wrong. It completely threw off the back end." Kevin stared at me, his brow furrowed in confusion. "Draping? What are you talking about, man? It's a Python script." He glanced at John, who just shook his head frantically. Kevin, now more amused than concerned, chuckled and cooled across the office. "Hey Sarah, Jessica, can you guys come here a sec? I think Paul's speaking your language and I need a translator." The two women from the marketing team came over, smiling. "What's up, Kev?" Sarah asked. I asked Paul about the script architecture, and he started talking about silhouettes and draping, Kevin explained, trying not to laugh. Jessica's eyes lit up. "Oh, honey, are you moonlighting at Vogue?" "A silhouette is the overall shape of an outfit, and draping is how the fabric falls," she said, as if explaining a complex formula. Sarah chimed in, "With that new haircut and that shirt, you're looking more and more like you belong in the fashion department anyway. You should really think about an internship." They all chuckled as they walked away, leaving John and me frozen in a state of pure, unadulterated horror. I mumbled a thank you, my throat tight. Just then, my screen flickered. My job title on the company intranet changed from programmer to fashion intern. An email popped up from a Miranda Priestley, asking for a skinny latte. Just then, Kevin walked by again, peering over my shoulder. "Whoa, Paul, didn't know you were gunning for a spot in the fashion department. This layout is sick." He paused, squinting at me. "And I gotta say, man, a new look is working for you. That hairstyle is great, and are you wearing eyeliner? Bold move. I love it. My screen flickered again. My coding project vanished, replaced by a layout for a W magazine fashion spread. My job title on the company intranet changed from programmer to fashion intern. For some reason, Kevin's compliments felt like a physical blow. I suddenly felt like my hair and eyeliner were bold and edgy, and I wanted to make the best possible magazine layout. What was happening to me? I tried to protest, but the words caught in my throat, replaced by a sickly sweet smile. The headache began, a sharp throb behind my eyes, a warning that denying this new reality would be painful. I swallowed hard and thanked Kevin for the compliment, my voice sounding higher and more feminine than I remembered. It was around that time I saw John standing by the coffee machine, wearing an elegant dress that hugged his new curves. His face was perfectly made up, his nails a glossy red. He told me he had to get out of here and find the antique shop. I had no clue what he was talking about, but I was too dazed to care. This was probably all a bizarre nightmare, and I would wake up soon. I stared at the layout as my mind began to fill with embarrassing and girlish ideas for the spread. Around 2 p.m, I had another coworker leaned over my monitor. "I love your new hairstyle. It's so great how you love styling your hair." I opened my mouth to deny it, to scream that this was all a horrible mistake, but as I formed the words, a sharp, nauseating headache pulsed behind my eyes. The pain was immediate, intense. It was a clear, unspoken warning. Denying this new reality was physically painful. The path of least resistance of compliance was the only one that didn't feel like being stabbed in the brain. The headache receded the moment I swallowed my protest and coquettishly bobbed my hair and thanked the coworker for noticing. I decided that the humiliating task of getting the skinny latte was as good of an excuse as any to get out of the office. As I stood up, I felt the full, horrifying weight of the changes. My chinos were gone, replaced by a grey, ruffled skirt that barely reached mid-thigh. My legs, now slender and shaved, were encased in thick, opaque black tights. My work shoes had morphed into a pair of high, chunky-heeled Mary Janes that forced me onto my toes. My shirt was now a patterned black top, and over it, a heavy, grey plaid double-breasted blazer had materialised, cinching at my new, smaller waist. I felt a phantom sensation, a memory of my old self, and a wave of vertigo washed over me. I stumbled, my hand instinctively going to my thigh to adjust the unfamiliar tights. I reached for my work bag, but it was now a Louis Vuitton purse, filled with things like lip gloss, a compact mirror, and a small notebook with doodles of outfits. I grabbed the wallet searching for an ID, but all I could find was a couple of credit cards with the name Blair Waldorf embossed on them. Who was this? Why did I recognise this name? As I walked to the coffee shop, my hips swayed with an unfamiliar, maddening rhythm. The barista, a young guy with a man bun, leaned over the counter. "Hey, you look amazing! That jacket is killer." A group of women behind me murmured their agreement. "I love her whole look," one of them whispered. The compliments were a fresh wave of humiliation, each one a nail in the coffin of the man I used to be. The world was going insane, and I was the only one who noticed. I got the latte, my hands trembling as I paid. I fled the office at 5, unable to take another moment of the smiling, oblivious madness. I walked, or rather, teetered on my new heels, towards my old apartment building, a desperate homing pigeon. But when I got there, my key wouldn't fit in the lock. A strange woman opened the door, a baby on her hip, and looked at me with confusion. "Can I help you?" she asked. My apartment, my life, my very existence had been overwritten. The shock was a physical blow. The world went fuzzy at the edges, and I collapsed on the sidewalk. I woke up on the floor, my cheek pressed against a thick, plush carpet I'd never felt before. The final transformation had completed while I slept. My minimalist apartment was gone, replaced by a lavish penthouse bedroom that seemed to be pulled directly from a magazine. Ornate furniture, silk curtains, and a sprawling canopy bed now occupied the space where my simple platform bed and IKEA desk once stood. A wave of vertigo hit me as I scrambled to my feet. I was wearing silk pajamas that felt alien against my skin, and a cascade of long chestnut hair tumbled over my shoulders. I stumbled towards a full-length, gilt-edged mirror, and a stranger stared back, a petite, slender woman with wide, panicked eyes. My phone buzzed. It was a video call from Maya. I answered, my hands trembling. Paul. Oh my God, what's happening? She asked, her voice laced with what sounded like concern. But I could see her reflection in a mirror behind her. She was a statuesque blonde, preening in a designer dress, a wide grin on her face. Her feigned worry evaporated in an instant. Wait, is that a walk-in closet? Paul, you have to show me. And what are you wearing? Are those silk pajamas? Who are they by? Maya, stop, I yelled, my voice a strange, high-pitched sound I didn't recognize. This isn't a game. We have to figure out how to fix this. Fix it? Paul, this is amazing. We're in Gossip Girl. This is my dream. Her eyes were shining with a manic glee. Just tell me what you're wearing. We have to look the part to blend in. Before I could respond, another call came through. It was John, his face now a beautiful, sultry brunette, streaked with tears. Paul, I think I did something, he sobbed, his new voice cracking. The locket I didn't know. I wished for a life like this, and now I have breasts, Paul, and my clothes are all lacy. We have to find a way to reverse it. Please, we have to fix this. I switched back to the call with Maya and told her what John had said. Maya's voice became firm, taking charge. Stay put. John is a mess. Now that he's younger, he needs an escort. I'm getting him, and then we're coming to you. Don't do anything stupid, B. She hung up. Maya arrived at John's new apartment to find him erect. Now a sultry brunette with curves he didn't know how to carry, he was huddled on the floor in a silk robe, sobbing. I did this, he confessed, the words tumbling out between panicked breaths. I was just so lonely, Paul. I saw you and Maya, and you were a whole universe, and I wasn't in it. I held the locket, and I just wished. I didn't mean for this to happen. Maya knelt, her expression softening into a practiced look of sympathy. John, shh, look at you, she said, her voice a soothing balm as she tilted his chin up. You're not that lonely, invisible person anymore. You're Georgina Sparks. You're beautiful. John sniffled, looking at his reflection in a nearby mirror with disgust. But I'm a girl. Maya smiled, a slow, predatory curving of her lips. And you're a gorgeous one. Honestly, John, you make a much better woman than a man. Look at your eyes, they're so big and expressive now. And your hair, it's incredible. She ran a hand through his new, dark locks. He flinched, but didn't pull away. She saw a flicker of something, in his eyes a weakening of resolve. She realized then that her words, her compliments, had power here. They were a key. This isn't a punishment, it's an opportunity, she continued, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. This is your chance to be someone happy, someone who gets noticed, someone fun. The word fun seemed to land with a particular weight. But I don't know how, he whispered, a new note of curiosity in his voice. I don't know how to be a girl. Oh, that's the easy part, Maya said, her smile widening. You just have to dress the part. Let's start with something simple, something girly and fun. She went to the closet, which was now full of Georgina's designer clothes, and pulled out a short, flirty dress. Come on, Georgina, she said, her voice now a playful command. Let's go see what Blair is up to. They arrived at my penthouse to find me in a state of quiet, agonizing paralysis. I was standing before the open walk-in closet, a space larger than my old living room, filled with clothes I couldn't comprehend. I feel weird, I confessed, my voice barely a whisper. I feel this pull, this need to get dressed, to look perfect. But it's not me. I hate it, but I want it, and it's making me insane. Oh, B, don't fight it, Maya said, her eyes lighting up. It's the curse. It wants us to play along. Don't call me that, I pleaded, my voice cracking. Please, Maya. My name is Paul. This is all so embarrassing. I think it's a good idea, John chimed in, his voice now a sultry alto that still sent shivers down my spine. We need to blend in, right? It makes sense to use the names. I looked at him, betrayed. See? Georgina gets it, Maya said, turning back to me with a predatory smile. And Blair is such a beautiful name, a powerful name. You should use it. Her compliment felt like a physical force, the psychic pressure of the curse wrapping around the words. The name Paul felt heavy and wrong in my mind, like trying to run old software on a new operating system. Fine, I surrendered, the fight draining out of me. Fine, Blair. Good girl, Maya purred. Now, let's get you dressed. To really fix this, we have to look the part. With a triumphant smile, she led me to the bed, where an outfit was already laid out, as if by magic. Okay, Blair, she said, her voice taking on the authority of a seasoned stylist. First things first, the foundation of any great look. She handed me a pair of sheer, opaque black tights. The nylon felt smooth and alien as I slid them up my legs. Good lingerie is everything, B, she said with a wink. It makes you feel complete. As she said it, a disgusting, intrusive thought wormed its way into my brain. She's right. I would feel naked without something like this on. The thought was so alien, so horrifyingly feminine, that I felt my cheeks burn with shame. Next was a form-fitting black turtleneck sweater that felt like a gentle cage, followed by a high-waisted, pleated miniskirt with bold red and white stripes. Then Maya sat me at the vanity. Now for the fun part, she chirped. She expertly applied a flawless makeup base, a subtle smoky eye, and then, the centerpiece, a bold, classic red lipstick. The waxy, pigmented feeling on my lips was a constant, mocking reminder of my new face. She styled my hair in voluminous, glossy curls, and then, the final, humiliating touch, a thin red headband, pushed far back on my head. The signature. She squealed with delight. I looked in the mirror. I was a stranger. A perfect, polished, beautiful stranger. I felt a disgusting flicker of pride, followed by a tidal wave of shame. Just then, Maya's phone rang. It was Carter, a handsome university student she'd just met, inviting them out. "CB," she said, her eyes gleaming. "It's working already." She looked at me, then at John. "Okay, new rule. For now, we play our parts. We live the life, we blend in, and we look for clues. If we fight this, we'll get nowhere. We have to do this together." The curse pulsed, a silent agreement. Defeated, John and I reluctantly nodded. We spent the evening trying to find the dusty old antique shop, but it was gone, replaced by a trendy new boutique. We were trapped. The nightmare was mine and John's, the dream was Maya's, and the guilt belonged entirely to John. My new name, as Maya relentlessly reminded me, was Blair. "You have to be Blair, B, or the curse might get worse." Maya would chirp, her eyes shining. There was a psychic pressure to it. If I resisted, a migraine would bloom behind my eyes, a cold dread that promised permanence. So I played the part. Our first mission was to infiltrate the Constance Billard School library database, a long shot based on a rumour that the locket had belonged to a former student. Maya was thrilled. A classic schoolgirl look. B. It's perfect for sneaking around. The getting ready was a new kind of hell. The psychic pressure manifested as an obsessive, gnawing need to get the look perfect. Anything less, and the headache would start. I sat at the vanity, my new hands fumbling with the alien tools. I tried to pull my hair back into the requisite headband, but a few strands fell out of place. The headache began, a sharp spike of pain behind my eye. I tried again, my hands shaking. Finally, desperate, I had to call Maya. "I can't get it right," I admitted, the words tasting like ash. "The headband keeps slipping. Please, you have to help me." Maya and John, who was already over, exchanged a look that was more amusement than pity. "See? I told you were getting into it," Maya said with a giggle. "No, I'm not," I snapped, my voice cracking. "It hurts if I don't do it right." They both rolled their eyes. "Whatever you say, B," John said, a smirk on his new, pretty face. Maya, delighted at the chance to play stylist, took over. Okay, relax. You just need a little product to give it some grip." She expertly worked some mousse into my hair, then slid the bright yellow headband into place, where it stayed perfectly. She then guided my hands, teaching me to apply the minimal, no-makeup that somehow made me look younger and more innocent. With every successful step, the pain receded, replaced by a humiliating sense of relief and a disgusting flicker of pride. The outfit was a crisp white button-down shirt, a navy pleated skirt that felt scandalously short, and a matching navy bow tie that felt like a tiny noose. The final, most humiliating piece was a pair of navy blue, opaque knee-high socks. The soft, tight fabric clung to my calves, a constant reminder of the juvenile role I was being forced to play. At the school, I tried to focus on database lookups and file permissions, but my mind kept drifting to thoughts about how good the nearby girl's makeup matched her skirt, or the springy colour palette another girl was wearing. What the hell was going on? I finally left without finding anything. A teacher stopped me in the hall. "That's a lovely bow, dear. Such school spirit," she said. The curse compelled me to smile and thank her, my face burning with a shame she couldn't see. My newfound school spirit compelled me to agree to attend a prep school charity event that was Maya's idea, framed as a way to hunt for clues among the city's elite. It's perfect, B, she announced, pulling up a photo on her phone. The fundraiser where Blair wears the amazing red tights. We have to recreate it. The getting ready ritual was a fresh hell. The psychic headache pulsed behind my eyes, a constant, gnawing need for the look to be perfect. I sat, a statue of misery at my vanity, trying to do the complex hairstyle myself. My hands, still unfamiliar with this long hair, tangled the strands into a messy knot. I tried to apply the eyeliner, but it smudged, making me look like a raccoon. With each failure, the pain behind my eyes intensified. Maya, please, I finally choked out over the phone, the humiliation a bitter pill. I can't do it. It's not right. It hurts. Maya arrived a few minutes later, a triumphant, knowing smile on her face. Oh, B, you're trying so hard. You must really be getting into this, she said, her voice dripping with condescending sweetness. I'm not, I snapped, my face flushing with shame. The curse it makes it hurt if it's not perfect. Of course it does, she said, patting my cheek. She and John, who had followed her in, exchanged a look that was pure amusement. Whatever you say, Blair, let's get you ready. She took over with a frightening expertise, her hands moving with a practiced grace. She expertly twisted my hair into an intricate, preppy half updo, the style both elegant and impossibly juvenile. Then she stood over me, directing the makeup application. A very clean, classic look for this one, she instructed. Like you're not even trying. I watched in the mirror as my own hands, now guided by her, applied a light foundation, a subtle eyeliner, and a barely there pink lip gloss. With each correct application, the headache receded, replaced by a sickening sense of relief. Then came the clothes. Maya laid them out on the bed, with a reverence usually reserved for religious artifacts. First, a crisp white blouse paired with a navy vest and tie that felt like a chokehold. Then, a pair of unforgivably short navy shorts. And now for the best part. Maya chirped, holding up a pair of screamingly bright red tights. Blair is the queen of coloured tights. B, it's her signature. You have to wear them. I tried to protest, to tell her how much I missed my old life, my old job. Maya, please, I just want to go back. I miss debugging code, the feeling of optimizing a complex silhouette. The words came out wrong. My brain felt like it was full of static. The curse was overwriting me. Optimizing a silhouette? Maya asked, her eyes lighting up. B, that's amazing. You're finally thinking like a fashionista. See? It's not so bad. Her compliment felt like a physical blow, and the technical knowledge I was trying to grasp felt even further away. Defeated, I let her help me into the tights. The shiny synthetic fabric felt like a second skin of pure shame as I was forced to pull them up over my new, slender legs. The final piece was a pinstripe blazer that cinched at the waist. I stood before the mirror, a 34-year-old man in the costume of a rebellious schoolgirl, and I felt a wave of nausea. But a cold, detached part of my brain, the part that was becoming Blair, noted the striking contrast of the red against the navy, the impeccable tailoring of the blazer. It looked good, and that thought was the most horrifying part of all. It was at that event that John, as the sultry brunette Georgina, was meant to be my reluctant wingman, another miserable soul just trying to get through the night. But Maya had other plans. John, you can't go looking like a sad sack, she'd said earlier, cornering him in his new lavish bedroom. Georgina is a viper in Valentino. You have to own it. Enjoy it. The curse feeds on misery, so if you want to help Paul, you have to be happy. She pulled an iconic Georgina outfit from the closeter stunning, tight black dress with leather paneling. I watched as John, under Maya's gleeful direction and the pressure of the curse, transformed. His initial discomfort gave way as Maya applied a dark, smoky eye and painted his nails a glossy black. The curse, sensing his weakening resolve, began to nudge him, a subtle arch of an eyebrow in the mirror, a new, dangerous curve to his lips. See? Maya whispered. You look powerful. You look like you belong. When he walked into that party, he was no longer my sad, scared friend. He was Georgina Sparks. And it was as Georgina that John met Carter, a handsome university student who was immediately charmed by Georgina's dark wit and palpable confidence. The shift in his priorities was immediate and seismic. He was showered with compliments, with an attention he had never known, and the lonely ache that had defined him for years began to disappear, replaced by a thrilling, terrifying desire. He still wanted to help me, But a new, more selfish hope was taking root. That night, he confessed his blossoming feelings to Maya, not to me. He really likes me, he'd whispered to her, a look of awe on his face. Maya, what do I do? How do I keep him interested? And Maya, seeing her new playmate, smiled. Don't worry, John, she'd said. I'll help you become the perfect Georgina. The next afternoon, Carter invited John to go ice skating at Woolman Rink, and of course, the girls were invited too. Maya was ecstatic. The iconic season 1 skating date. B, this is perfect. She squealed. John, desperate to spend more time with Carter, chimed in, yeah, Paul Blair, it'll be fun. We can look for clues there. Maybe one of the other skaters knows something about vintage lockets? His excuse was flimsy, but his desperation was real. The psychic dread pushed me to the vanity. To avoid the pain, I had to comply. I sat before the mirror, my new hands fumbling with brushets I didn't understand. I tried to apply the shimmering eyeshadow, but my hand shook, smudging a streak of silver across my cheek. I tried to wipe it off, but it wouldn't budge. With each clumsy mistake, the headache throbbed. Finally, humiliated, I had to call Maya on FaceTime. I can't do this, I admitted, the words tasting like poison. I don't know how. Maya's face lit up with delight. Oh, B, don't worry. I'll teach you. It's easy. She guided me through it, step by agonizing step, her voice a mix of condescending patience and genuine excitement. No, blend upwards, like this. See? You're a natural. By the end, the makeup was flawless, and a disgusting flicker of pride went through me at how good it looked, a feeling I immediately crushed with self-loathing. Then came the hair. You need the beret, Maya declared, holding up a screenshot on her phone. My hands brushed out my long hair until it was a cascade of soft waves, then placed a knitted white beret on top, arranging it at the perfect jaunty angle. The outfit was next. I felt the soft wool of a plaid capelet settle on my shoulders, over a simple pink turtleneck. Then, the matching skirt. The final, most humiliating touch was a pair of thick, suffocatingly opaque white tights. I steeled myself as I slid them up my legs, a seamless, constricting fabric feeling like a full-body cage. You look amazing, B, Maya chirped. At the rink, John and Carter were already skating hand in hand. Oh, Carter wants to get hot chocolate, John said with a wink. We'll be right back. Maya, seeing a handsome stranger by the railings, gave me a little wave and drifted off. I was alone. Immediately, 2 of Blair's minions from the show, Catty and Iz, skated over. Oh my God, Blair, your outfit is so adorable. Catty gushed. It's so perfectly girly, Iz added. You have to come skate with us. I tried to beg off, but the headache began to throb. I'd love to, I heard myself say, the words feeling like a weight around my neck. I wobbled onto the ice, the pom-poms on my skates a final, mocking touch, and let them pull me along, their laughter echoing in my ears as my humiliation deepened. Our search became a series of events orchestrated by Maya and John for their own benefit. One day, a rumour surfaced that an associate of the locket's owner would be at a Sunday brunch hosted by the Vander Woodsons. The perfect opportunity, Maya declared. But it's a family thing, so you have to look sweet and approachable, B. The ritual began. I sat captive as my hands, guided by my new knowledge, applied a soft, rosy makeup look. They swept my hair into a gentle half updo, securing it with a pearl clip. Then Maya presented the outfit on a silk hanger, a floral print blouse with voluminous sleeves, and a pink tweed skirt with a large, absurd bow at the waist. And the white tights are a must, she chirped. They complete the innocent look. I felt the thick, opaque fabric slide up my legs, another layer of my old self being erased. The bright yellow heels felt like a final, cruel joke. At the brunch, I was a vision of feminine sweetness, and my inner Paul was dying of embarrassment. An older woman, Carter's grandmother, pinched my cheek. You're just as lovely as a spring day, dear, she cooed. Later, I tried to talk to Carter's father about his investment portfolio, hoping for a clue. I was thinking about your asset allocation, I began, but the words twisted in my mouth, and how you balance your accessories. It's so important to have a diversified palette. He stared at me, baffled. Before his wife chimed in, oh sweetie, you must mean your wardrobe. Accessories are so important for a complete look. The psychic pressure was immense, a crushing weight demanding I play along. I smiled and nodded, my face burning with shame. The wife took my arm, and lead me over to a group of other wives and girls, all discussing tea parties and charity events. I tried to think about topics and ideas that would interest Carter's father, but my mind could only focus on his wife's outfit, a perfectly tailored floral dress that hugged her curves in all the right places. I found myself complimenting her on it, my voice dripping with my newly acquired feminine lilt. "Your dress is just stunning," I said, my own voice still sounding foreign to me. "The way the colours blend is just perfect." His wife beamed with delight. She complimented my style in return and encouraged me to wear bright colours and colourful accessories more often. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me, the psychic pressure of the curse demanding I find pleasure in this outfit I was wearing, and wearing more like it in the future. I thought I had a lucky break when Prescott's wife began sharing about her family's collection of jewels. "Women in my family have been collecting jewellery for generations. We have some pieces that are over 100 years old, passed down from mother to daughter." She convinced to come try on the jewellery and act as a model for her and her friends. None of the pieces were the locket I was looking for, but I had to play along until the evening ended. My work life as a fashion intern became a recurring distraction from our supposed mission. One morning, my new boss tasked me with delivering a sensitive lookbook across town. "And Blair," she'd said, "look the part. You represent this magazine." The psychic pressure began instantly, a low hum that demanded perfection. My hands, with a confidence I found repulsive, began the ritual. They chose a soft, natural makeup palette, a light foundation, a touch of rosy blush, and a simple nude lipstick. They styled my hair in loose, glamorous waves that fell perfectly over my shoulders, finishing it with a dark, textured beret that felt absurdly chic. The outfit was a complex layering of textures and patterns. First came the tights. Not simple, opaque ones, but an incredibly intricate pair of sheer grey floral lace. The delicate pattern felt like a spiderweb against my skin, a constant reminder of my entanglement. Over this, a black and white window-pane plaid skirt and a matching jacket with ornate, military-style braided trim. The heavy wool of the suit felt formal and constricting, a stark contrast to the delicate lace on my legs. When I ran into my old tech co-workers in the lobby, I overheard them arguing. Stuck on a server migration problem I knew I could solve in my sleep. I saw a chance to feel like myself again. "Hey guys," I began, approaching them. "I think I know what the issue is." Kevin and Dave turned, their eyes widening as they recognized Blair, the new fashion intern. So, I started, trying to access the technical part of my brain. The problem isn't with the data packets. It's a bottleneck in the new Taylor Swift album. The rollout was just too ambitious for the infrastructure. The words felt alien, my own mouth betraying me. They stared, dumbfounded. "Taylor Swift?" Kevin finally said. "What are you talking about?" Just then, my new fashion colleagues, Sarah and Jessica, walked by. "Blair, you look absolutely stunning." Jessica gushed. "That coat is to die for." Sarah looked at Kevin and Dave's bewildered faces and laughed. "Don't mind them, Blair. They don't understand that fashion is its own kind of architecture." "Yeah," Kevin said, his eyes now filled with a different kind of interest. "You're probably right. A pretty girl like you shouldn't have to worry about our boring tech problems anyway." The condescension was a physical blow, but the curse twisted it, forcing a blush to my cheeks. "Oh, don't be silly," Jessica said, winking at Kevin. She was obviously just trying to flirt with you nerds. The curse's crushing weight demanded I play along. Before I could stop it, my lips curled into a coy smile. Well, I heard my own voice purr. A girl has to get her intel somehow. I gave them a slow, deliberate wink that made my own stomach turn, then spun on my heel and walked away, my face burning with a shame so deep it felt like it was scorching me from the inside out. My old self was being beaten into submission. As I tried to think more about the technical details of the server migration, all I could think about instead was how important it was that I was wearing my new, intricate lace stockings, how they made my legs look long and elegant, and how the outfit was perfectly tailored to highlight my new curves. The curse wanted me think about being pretty now, anytime I started think about my old programming skills. A new lead pointed to a rival collector who might have information. His weakness? High-stakes poker. "This is it, B. Your Bond girl moment." Maya insisted. "But you have to do it yourself this time. You need to learn. Show me you can be her." The psychic pressure returned, a low throb that promised agony if I didn't perfectly execute the role. I sat at the vanity, my hands moving with a chilling, detached precision that was becoming second nature. To avoid the pain, I had to choose the right lingerie. My logical mind rebelled, but another part of me, the part that was learning to survive, knew exactly what was needed. My hands selected a pair of intricate black lace stockings and a matching garter belt. Oh my, Maya cooed from the doorway, leaning against the frame with a mocking smile. Look at you, Bee. Such racy, girly taste. Tell me, how does it feel? The headache began to pulse. I had to answer. I hate it, I stammered, my face burning. It feels delicate. The lace is so soft against my skin. It makes me feel vulnerable. Vulnerable or sexy? She purred. Come on, tell me why you chose it. The pressure in my skull intensified. Because the dress is so simple, I choked on the words in response. It needs a complex foundation. The lace adds texture, a secret that only I know I'm wearing. Oh, I'm so sure you hate it, she laughed. You're getting so good at this. My hands painted my lips a light, innocent pink that belied their use as a weapon. They swept my hair up into an elegant black headband that exposed the nape of my new, slender neck. Maya handed me a pair of oversized, vintage-inspired sunglasses that felt like a mask. You need to look the part, Bee. Mysterious and alluring. I slipped them on, the dark lenses hiding my eyes, but not the shame burning in my cheeks. The dress was a sleek, black silk sheath that hugged my curves in all the right places. It felt like a second skin, both empowering and humiliating. The heels were sky-high, forcing me to walk with a new, exaggerated sway that made my hips move in ways I never had before. You look incredible, Maya said, her voice dripping with condescension. Like you belong in a James Bond movie. I tried to ignore the way her words twisted inside me, the curse demanding I accept them as truth. I thought I was finally free to go, but Maya had one last humiliation for me. Tell me again how much you love your stockings. Bee, she said, her eyes gleaming with sadistic delight. Tell me how they make you feel. The pressure in my head was unbearable. I had to comply. I love them, I said, my voice a whisper. They make me feel sexy, powerful, like I can take on the world. The words felt like poison on my tongue, but the curse twisted them into a compulsion to speak the truth as it demanded it. She smiled and told me Blair always blew kisses goodbye. I initially tried to just wave, but the pressure in my head intensified. A sharp, stabbing pain that promised to split my skull if I didn't comply. I finally blew a kiss, my lips forming the shape with a practiced ease that made me want to retch. I sat at the poker table, my old analytical mind trying to calculate odds and read tells. But the curse was a fog, and the knowledge felt distant, replaced by an intrusive awareness of how the silk dress felt against my skin, the way the lace of the stockings brushed against my thighs. My first hand, I tried to play a bluff. I'll see your 500, I said, but my voice came out as a breathy whisper. I tried to remember the hierarchy of hands. Does a flush beat a straight? Or is it the other way around? The other players just stared at me. My mind went blank. Instead of poker strategy, all I could think about was the woman across the table's gaudy jewellery. I fold, I stammered, throwing my cards in. But I have to say, that's a fabulous brooch. The table erupted in laughter. The rival collector, a man named Sterling, just smirked. You're not much of a card player, are you, darling? He said, his voice a low rumble. But that's all right. Why don't you come sit over here and be my good luck charm? Defeated, I let him pull me onto a stool next to him, his arm possessively around my waist. The rest of the night was a blur of humiliation. Sterling's hand kept finding its way to my leg, his fingers tracing the patterns on my lace stockings, sending sparks of unwanted, terrifying arousal through me. When he finally won the game, he leaned in and whispered, I have a collection of unique pieces you might find interesting. Back at my hotel. With the promise of seeing his rare collection, I agreed. But in his hotel room, there were no cursed lockets, just velvet-lined boxes of vintage jewellery and antique lingerie. I thought you might like to try some of this on, he said, his eyes gleaming as he opened a box to reveal a delicate cream and pink floral corset with matching ruffled panties. A wave of nausea and, to my horror, a flicker of genuine curiosity washed over me. It's exquisite, Sterling purred. It would look divine on you. The curse throbbed, a silent, painful demand. I took the lingerie into the bathroom, my hands shaking. The corset was structured with boning that felt like a cage, yet the silk was impossibly soft. It pushed my small breasts up, creating a cleavage that was both fascinating and deeply wrong. The ruffled panties were a joke, a confection of silk and lace that made me feel like a child playing dress-up. When I emerged, Sterling's eyes widened. "Magnificent," he breathed. "You're a work of art." His compliments were a physical force, the curse twisting them into a compulsion to please, to be admired. A disgusting, horrifying part of me wanted to show him how good I looked, to pose and preen like the woman I was being forced to become. He opened another box, revealing a black satin bustier with delicate cream trim. "This one next," he commanded. I changed again, the satin cool and slippery against my skin, the underwire lifting and shaping me into an idealized female form. I felt powerful, sexy, and utterly humiliated. Sterling's praise grew more effusive with each piece. I modelled a lacy black slip that left little to the imagination, each compliment fueling a confusing, shameful pride. I finally made an excuse to leave, my mind racing. I had to get dressed again, but the curse wouldn't let me leave without making myself perfect again. I slipped back into the silk dress, the lace stockings that felt like a delicious sartorial prison, and the heels that made me wiggle my butt. When I finally went to leave, Sterling watched me the entire time, his smile predatory. "You look even better now than you did before," he said, his hand on the small of my back as he walked me to the door. "We'll have to do this again." He gave my back a final, possessive stroke before I managed to pull away and flee into the night, my dignity in tatters. Despite every part of me screaming not to, I found myself raising my hand to my mouth and pursing my lips and blowing him a kiss, just the way Maya had told me Blair would do it. My desperation led me to a high-risk gamble. I remembered that two of my old co-workers, Kevin and another programmer named Dave, were avid collectors of rare video game memorabilia and historical oddities. It was a long shot, but they were my only link to a world of obsessive collectors who might know something about cursed lockets. John and Maya were useless, off on a date with Carter, so I had to go alone. The psychic pressure throbbed, demanding a look that was powerful and intimidating. My hands, with a disturbing new confidence, created a perfect glossy blowout that made my hair feel like a sheet of silk. To avoid the headache of resistance, I forced myself to choose the outfit, a new level of humiliating compliance. My eyes, Blair's eyes, scanned the closet and landed on a bold houndstooth coat. "That one," I heard myself say, my voice a cool alto, with the black turtleneck and the platform heels. A part of me, the logical Paul, recoiled in horror, but another part felt a disgusting thrill at the power of the combination. The thick, opaque black tights felt like armour as I pulled them on, a constricting second skin that nevertheless made my legs look long and elegant. The turtleneck was soft cashmere, and the coat itself was heavy, beautifully tailored wool. I slipped on the ridiculously high peep-toe platform heels and felt a strange sense of authority. The final piece was a vibrant green alligator handbag. Looking in the mirror, I was horrified by how good it looked, how much I looked like her. I found my old friends at a crowded downtown bar. They saw me, and their faces registered a flash of recognition, immediately followed by dismissal. They turned their backs, presumably mistaking me for some kind of Upper East Side snob. The headache began. To make it stop, I had to approach them. "Kevin? Dave? It's Blair," choking on my failed attempt to use my old name. They turned, their eyes wide. "Whoa, Blair," Kevin said, his gaze raking over me from head to toe. "Didn't recognize you." "Nice. Everything." His hand landed on my arm, his fingers tracing the fabric of my coat. "This is nice." Dave leaned in, a little too close. "Yeah, man. You look incredible." I tried to connect, to find our old common ground. "So, did you guys see the new trailer for that retro-futuristic RPG? The art direction is amazing, right? The whole colour story of the environments." I trailed off. I meant to talk about the rendering engine, but the words came out wrong. Dave laughed. "Colour story? You sound like my girlfriend." "Don't bother with that nerd stuff," Kevin said, his arm now sliding around my waist. "You're way too pretty to be talking about video games. Tell us about your outfit." The psychic pressure mounted, a nauseating wave. The memories of Framrats and bug reports felt fuzzy, distant. "It's vintage," I heard myself say, the lie coming unnervingly easily. "The key is to balance a statement piece like the coat, with simple classic lines." My old life was slipping away, replaced by this fashionista. They bought me a drink, then another. My new body had no tolerance for alcohol, and the world began to swim. "You're so fun, Blair. Dave slurred, his hand now on my knee, so much more sexy and ready to please than I thought. Fueled by the liquor and the curse's compulsion, I did something I'll never forgive myself for. As Kevin leaned in to tell me another joke, I closed the distance and kissed him. It was a sloppy, drunken, desperate act to fight off another headache. He kissed back, surprised but pleased. When we broke apart, I finally managed to ask about old lockets. They just laughed. "We collect Funko Pops, not haunted jewelry," Dave said. "You're barking up the wrong tree." The lead was a bust. The humiliation was for nothing. Kevin, flushed with victory, insisted on taking me home. I had to endure another 20 minutes of his handsy help getting me into a cab, his number slipped into my expensive green handbag, while I once again debased myself by flirtatiously blowing him a kiss goodbye with one hand while holding the handbag with the other. I finally ran off as fast as my heels would allow, the weight of the curse pressing down on me like a physical force. I was trapped in this nightmare, and I had no idea how to escape. It had been Maya's idea to meet up with Blair's notorious ex-boyfriend, a well-known womanizer whose family dealt in the kind of shadowy antiques that might include our cursed locket. My blood ran cold at the thought. No way, Maya. Not him. The curse will... I can't control what this body does around a guy like that. I had resisted this idea until now, but with Maya seemingly enjoying this whole thing too much to reverse it, and my failed attempt to reconnect with my old life, I was running out of options. My plan was to wear something conservative, androgynous, a simple pantsuit, maybe. But the moment I thought it, the psychic headache flared, a sharp, insistent pulse that demanded something more. It wanted to be Blair. Defeated and exhausted by Maya's constant manipulations, I turned to John. "I need your help," I pleaded when I found him in his apartment. "Just for this one thing. Maya's pushing too hard. I need to look right so the curse backs off, but I can't listen to her tell me how much I love it." John, now fully embracing his Georgina persona, gave me a slow, pitying smile. "Oh, Paul," he said, his voice a sultry purr. "You still don't get it, do you? It's not about what Maya wants. It's about what you want, deep down." "That's not true," I snapped. "I want to be me. Do you?" he asked, walking towards his closet. "Then why does the idea of looking pretty make the pain go away? Just admit it. Say it. Say I want to be beautiful." He said it like a joke, but his eyes were serious, and the pressure in my skull intensified. "Please, John, just help me," I begged, the words catching in my throat. I broke down, confessing the confusing, humiliating pleasure I sometimes felt, the horror of my own hands knowing which shade of lipstick to choose. He listened, his smirk growing. "Fine," he said finally, "but you have to admit, just to me, that some part of you is enjoying this." Defeated, I gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. He chose the outfit with a connoisseur's eye. A bright green, A-line coat, a mustard yellow silk pussy bow blouse, and sheer lavender white tights. The process was torture. My hands, guided by his cruel suggestions, applied a perfect, dewy makeup look. They fastened a gold headband in my soft brown waves. I felt the whisper-thin tights slide up my legs, the feeling of near-nakedness a fresh humiliation. The yellow T-strap heels were like something out of a doll's wardrobe. When I was finally dressed, I looked in the mirror and felt a wave of vertigo. I was exquisite, and the thought was killing me. As I left to meet my doom, John's final words echoed in my ears, a chilling mirror of Maya's own manipulations. "Don't worry, Blair," he said, his voice laced with a dark, triumphant pity. "He's going to love you." At the meeting, the ex was as bad as I'd feared, touchy, flirtatious, his eyes devouring me. I felt a spark of terrifying, unwanted arousal, a final betrayal by my own nervous system. He didn't know anything about the locket, of course, but he did know about a very exclusive party where all sorts of shadowy figures with unique tastes would be. He gave me a cryptic clue on how to get in, his fingers tracing the collar of my coat, leaving me feeling more terrified and alone than ever before. John, now Georgina, had betrayed me too. The next clue came from John. "Carter's family is hosting a gallery benefit," he announced, his eyes shining. "The guest list is full of old money types who collect weird stuff. We have to go." It was then I realised Chuck had been full of shit about the party. Maya immediately pulled up a photo on her phone. Oh, the blue period. B. This is perfect. The psychic pressure throbbed, and I numbly made my way to the vanity. My hands, now disturbingly adept, applied a dramatic, shimmering blue eyeshadow to match the theme. They styled my hair in soft, elegant waves and pinned it under a bizarre but somehow chic blue felt hat. The outfit was a symphony in teal and blue. A soft, fuzzy turquoise jacket over a tight, patterned pencil skirt in shades of blue and green. The final, most humiliating piece was a pair of sheer, dark blue fishnet tights. The fine mesh felt scratchy and cold against my skin, a constant reminder of how exposed I was. I felt ridiculous, a parody of high fashion. At the benefit, Catty and Iz found me instantly, their eyes wide. "Blair, you look incredible," Catty exclaimed. So bold. They immediately dragged me over to meet a handsome, smirking man named Prescott. "Prescott's family has been collecting for generations," Iz stage whispered. I knew this was my mission, but John and Maya had already disappeared with Carter. Prescott bought me a drink, his eyes shamelessly raking over my outfit. "That's quite the ensemble," he said, a patronizing smile on his face. I tried to steer the conversation towards his family's collection. "I'm interested in the security protocols for older acquisitions," I began, trying to sound intelligent. "Specifically, the database migration and the Sabrina Carpenter motif." The word framework was replaced by a sudden, intrusive thought about Sabrina Carpenter's latest album cover. You know, like how Sabrina always mixes retro silhouettes with bold colours, and her music videos have that playful, almost vintage vibe? It's all about the motif, the way she ties her fashion to her music's themes. Prescott blinked, clearly baffled. "Sabrina Carpenter?" he repeated, a smirk tugging at his lips. "Are we talking about pop stars or provenance?" I felt my cheeks burn as I realised what I'd said, but the curse wouldn't let me stop. "It's just... her whole look is so cohesive, like the way she uses pastel blues and those little bows, and how her lyrics are all about confidence and reinvention. It's kind of like curating a collection, right?" Prescott laughed, a loud, booming sound. "Don't you worry your pretty little head about that," he said, patting my hand. "A girl who can coordinate her tights to her eyeshadow doesn't need to understand business. It's too cute." The humiliation was enough to kill me, but the implications of his compliment meant I would only lose more of my past knowledge. I spent the rest of the night trapped, forced to smile and nod as he explained basic financial concepts to me like I was a child. My every attempt to ask a real question brushed aside with another condescending compliment. After the humiliating encounter with Prescott, I was desperate. I overheard him mentioning a follow-up meeting with a special buyer the next day. This was my chance. I told Maya and John my plan. I would follow him. "Great idea, B," Maya said, her eyes gleaming. "But you can't go looking like that. You need a look that's chic but discreet. A following a handsome man through the city look." John, now fully in his Georgina persona, agreed. "She's right. You need to look effortless." The next morning, they cornered me in my walk-in closet. The psychic pressure mounted, a familiar, nauseating wave. To avoid it, I had to play along. My hands, with a disturbing autonomy, moved through the racks of clothes. They landed on a black dress and a striking, black and white checkered coat. Yes, Maya squealed. The graphic contrast is so powerful. I sat at the vanity, my hands moving with a precision that horrified me. They applied a soft, smoky eye, a nude lipstick, and a touch of highlighter to my new high cheekbones. My hair was styled in loose, glamorous waves that fell perfectly over my shoulders. Then came the clothes. A simple black sheath dress that felt alarmingly short, and a pair of thick, opaque white tights that felt like a spotlight on my legs. I pulled them on, the constricting fabric a familiar humiliation. Then came the coat, heavy and impeccably tailored, with large, black buttons that felt like staring eyes. The final touch was a pair of black leather gloves and a pair of platform heels so high they felt like stilts. I looked in the mirror, a perfect vision of Upper East Side chic, and I felt a wave of self-loathing so intense it almost made me sick. The mission was a bust before it even began. I couldn't walk 2 blocks without being stopped, first by a woman who gushed about my coat, then by 2 girls from the prep school who wanted to know where I got my shoes. With each interaction, the curse compelled me to respond with a breezy confidence, to offer shopping tips, to talk about designers I'd never heard of. Maya and John, who were supposed to be my lookouts, just laughed and encouraged the conversations. "CB, you're a natural," Maya said, linking her arm through mine. "You have such great taste. We should all go shopping." And just like that, My mission was over. I was swept away in a tide of femininity. A day of surveillance turned into an afternoon of boutique hopping with Blair's minions. My own desperation a forgotten footnote in their perfect, glamorous day. Maya, claiming it was crucial for maintaining our cover, decided I had to host an elegant tea party for my new fashion colleagues and some of Blair's school friends. It's a perfect opportunity to overhear something, she insisted, though her eyes danced with the thrill of party planning. The getting ready process was an all-day affair. The psychic headache throbbed, a familiar warning to get this right. I stood before the mirror, my own hands fumbling with the makeup. Maya, please, I begged, the desperation raw in my voice. I can't get the eyeliner right. It's supposed to be a soft cat eye, but it looks smudged. Maya strolled in, a condescending smile on her face. Having trouble, Bee? I thought you were enjoying your new skill set. I'm not enjoying it, I insisted, my cheeks flushing with shame. The curse it makes me want it to be perfect. It hurts when it's not. Sure it does, sweetie, she said sarcastically now. Hold still. She took my hand, guiding it with a practiced ease. You just need a lighter touch. Let the brush do the work. With her help, the makeup was flawless. My hair was styled in soft, loose waves, crowned with a mustard yellow beret that felt both chic and ridiculous. The outfit was the real torture. A mustard yellow silk pussy bow blouse felt slippery and alien against my skin, my fumbling fingers struggling to tie the bow with the required perfect drape. Come on, Bee, you know how this goes, Maya chided. Just say you love it. Say it feels good to look this pretty. The headache intensified. Fine, I choked out, the words like poison. I love it. It feels good. The pain receded instantly, leaving a hollow ache of humiliation. Over the blouse went a heavy, dark green wool capelet coat. Underneath, a short tweed skirt that left me feeling exposed. And the fishnets are a must, Maya declared, holding up a pair of sheer black stockings. They're edgy, but classic. It's so Blair. The scratchy, revealing mesh felt like a web against my legs. Just as the guests were about to arrive, Maya and John announced they had to follow a lead across town, leaving me alone to play hostess. I spent the next 3 hours trapped in a circle of chattering women. The conversation was a dizzying whirlwind of topics I barely understood. Did you see Ariana's new video? The styling is divine. I heard the new Fenty highlighter is to die for. I tried to bring up something, anything from my old life. Speaking of new releases, I interjected desperately. Did you see the specs on that new graphics card? The conversation stopped dead. The girls stared at me, their smiles frozen. Then, one of them giggled. Oh, Blair, you're so funny. Graphics cards. The psychic headache began to throb. To make it stop, I had to pivot. I meant the new cardigans at Henri Bendel. The graphics on them are just divine. The girls erupted in delighted chatter, pulling me into a debate about fall fashion trends. With every word I spoke about hemlines and palettes, I could feel my knowledge of coding languages and server architecture becoming fuzzy, like a corrupted file. I was losing myself, one compliment at a time. Meanwhile, Maya and Yonza's lead turned out to be a success. They'd found the shopkeeper and explained their predicament, conflicts and all. It's simple, the old man had rasped. The wish can be broken by the wisher at any time and Everone goes back to normal. Or, he added, a glint in his eye, it can be locked in, made permanent, but only if all three of you agree. Maya and John looked at each other, a silent, terrible understanding passing between them. They knew what they had to do. The breaking point, the moment of their ultimate betrayal, came disguised as a moment of hope. After a particularly tense encounter where Carter confessed his feelings for Georgina but admitted he felt a wall around her, John came to me that night, his face a mask of despair. Maya was with him, a comforting hand on his shoulder. I can't do this anymore, Paul, John said, his voice trembling. He wants the real me, but I don't even know who that is anymore. This Georgina, she isn't real. I can't build a life on this lie. I finally broke down. I know. I confessed, the words tumbling out in a rush of panicked relief. I hate this. I hate the clothes, the makeup, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I enjoy it. I find myself thinking like her, wanting the things she would want. It's making me insane. I just want to go back. I just want to be me again. Maya's expression softened into a look of calculated, predatory sympathy. Oh, B, she said, her voice like silk as she knelt before me, taking my hands. You're not going insane. You're finally letting go. We went to see the shopkeeper. He told us how to fix this, how to set things right. The locket's magic is tied to your belief. As long as you're fighting it, you'll be miserable. You just have to lean in. Enjoy it. That's the key to making the reversal spell work. She's right, John added, his eyes wild with the desperate, feverish logic of a convert. He paced behind me, his voice urgent. The shopkeeper said, we have to fully embrace the reality to undo it. It's like a paradox. We have to want this, Paul, for it to go away. Don't you see? Your enjoying it isn't a sign of you losing yourself. It's a sign that it's working. You just have to give in completely. We'll help you, Maya purred, squeezing my hands. One last time. We'll do it right, and then we'll all be free. They sold it as a cure, a final, paradoxical step to freedom. It was a beautiful, seductive lie, and to escape the constant, gnawing conflict in my own head, I agreed. The final getting ready was a collaborative masterpiece of betrayal. They sat me at the vanity, their faces a perfect blend of solemnity and encouragement. For this to work, you have to look and feel absolutely perfect, Blair, Maya whispered, her fingers expertly blending a smoky, dramatic eyeshadow onto my lids. She held up a picture of the earthy brown dress and capelet. This is the look. It's sophisticated, powerful. It's the ultimate Blair. To avoid the psychic headache, I leaned in, my own hands starting to work alongside hers. I felt a disgusting pride as I flawlessly applied the liner, my hands steady. I chose a muted, rose-coloured lipstick that I somehow knew would complement the dress. John stepped forward, holding a curling iron. Let me help, he said, his voice soft. I sat, a willing prisoner, as he created soft, voluminous waves in my long hair. The heat from the iron felt strange, the scent of hairspray cloying. Then came the outfit itself. Okay, B, let's get you dressed, Maya said, her voice full of excitement. I stood up, and she handed me a pair of delicate black patterned tights with tiny repeating bows. The fine mesh felt impossibly soft as I slid them up my legs, a second skin of pure humiliation. The dress was a soft, shimmering beige fabric that felt cool and slinky against my torso. It was sleeveless, with a drop waist and a ruffled hem that made me feel exposed and delicate. Then came the tweed capelet, settling on my shoulders with a comforting weight that belied its sinister purpose. John knelt to slide the elegant black heels onto my feet. Perfect, he breathed, looking up at me with an expression of pure admiration. Maya clasped a long pearl necklace around my neck, the cool beads resting against my collarbone. I looked in the mirror. I was a stranger, a beautiful, perfectly assembled doll. I hated how good it looked. See? Maya whispered, her hand on my shoulder. You're her. It feels right, doesn't it? I couldn't speak. The conflict was a physical weight in my chest. I wanted to scream, to rip it all off, but the absence of the psychic headache was a seductive relief. Seeing the lingering horror in my eyes, John gave my hand a reassuring squeeze. Don't worry, Paul. Just get through this one last night. Just believe. It'll all be back to normal tomorrow. I decided to trust them, to believe that this was the way out. I let go of my inhibitions and took inventory of my new body, the way the dress hugged my curves, the way the tights made my legs looked and made me feel like I was floating. I decided to embrace all the compliments and suggestions, to enjoy the way my hair fell perfectly, the way the makeup highlighted my features, the feel of the expensive fabric against my skin, the way the heels made me feel taller, the intoxicating scent of the perfume that Maya had chosen for me. I was ready to be Blair, so I could be myself again. Maya and John made the wish, and I smiled and nodded and braced for the glorious feeling of my old self returning. A silent, consuming light tore through the room. Instead, I awoke with a gasp, the scent of lavender and expensive linen filling my lungs. The penthouse, the art on the walls, the life I had just been living it, was all gone. I was in a lavish canopy bed, yes, but it was different, younger, girlish, surrounded by chintz pillows and framed photos of a smiling brunette girl with ponies. My body felt smaller, weaker. I threw back the silk duvet and looked down at my hands. They were a teenager's hands. The cold dread that settled in my veins was absolute. I stumbled to a full-length mirror and stared. A girl of maybe 17 stared back, her face smooth and unlined, her body clad in silk pajamas. My phone, my lifeline to the real world, was gone. In its place, on the nightstand, was a pink flip phone, a toy. I flipped it open. No internet browser to search for answers, no access to my old accounts, no digital breadcrumbs of the man I used to be. I was untethered, completely cut off. The panic was a physical thing, a cold hand squeezing my heart. How could I ever find answers now? All my knowledge of the web, of databases, of technology, it was all useless, trapped in a world of dial-up and T9 texting. The flip phone buzzed, the sound tinny and cheap. A text from a number labelled S. The message was chilling in its cheerfulness. OMG, B. Did you see the new Constance Billard uniforms? So chic. Can't wait for the first day back. Zoxo, I frantically typed back messages, my thumbs clumsy on the tiny keypad. Maya, what did you do? And another John? What's going on? Talk to me. The reply came a minute later, this time from G. Curse? Locket? B. What are you talking about? Did you have that weird dream again? Anyway, hurry up and get ready. The Kiss on the Lips party is going to be epic. Carter's older brother is a freshman at Columbia, he can get us in. They hadn't reversed the curse, they had reset it. Or they were pretending they didn't remember, playing a new, crueler game. I couldn't know. The uncertainty was a new kind of torture. My eyes fell on a velvet chair in the corner of the room. An outfit was laid out, a uniform. I knew with a sickening certainty exactly how it would feel to wear it. The psychic pressure, now a constant companion, throbbed behind my eyes, not just a suggestion, but a command. It wasn't just about wearing the clothes anymore. It was about being the girl who wore them. I saw the crisp, pinstriped collared shirt and the navy sweater vest, and I knew how the slightly scratchy wool would feel against the soft cotton. I saw the short, pleated navy skirt, and I could already feel the humiliating draft on my legs. I saw the delicate, white, intricately patterned pointelle tights, and I knew the feeling of the soft, open-knit fabric stretching over my skin, a constant, fragile reminder of the femininity I was trapped in. I saw the ridiculous red and black plaid ballet flats, the little bow on the front a final condescending touch, and the red satin headband waiting to be slid into my hair. To complete the transformation from Paul, the 34-year-old architect, to Blair, the teenage queen of Constance Billard. The performance was about to begin again. And this time, there were no allies, no shared hope for escape. There was only the loop, the clothes, and the horrifying, quiet certainty that I was trapped.